Long before kingdoms learned the names of kings, the mountains remembered only the whispers of the gods. At the edge of the world, where the sea touched silent cliffs, there stood a forgotten temple. Every evening, as the last golden light faded into the horizon, a young wanderer climbed its worn stone steps, not seeking glory, but searching for a voice that only the night could carry. The wind greeted him like an old friend, carrying the scent of pine salt, an ancient marble warmed by countless sunsets. Above him, stars awakened one by one, as though invisible hands were lighting gentle candles across the endless sky. He closed his eyes, listening carefully, because silence, in that sacred place, always spoke before the gods ever did. No priest had visited the temple for generations, yet every pillar remained untouched by time. Wild flowers grew between the stones, soft vines embraced broken statues, and tiny golden embers floated through the evening air, like forgotten blessings that refused to disappear. The wanderer believed every spark carried the memory of a prayer whispered thousands of years before. Far below, the quiet sea reflected the moon like polished silver. Fishing boats rested without sound, while distant islands faded into a gentle blue mist. Somewhere beyond those calm waters, old legends claimed, the immortal ones still watched the world, never speaking loudly, only guiding patient hearts through dreams, gentle winds, and impossible coincidences. That night, something felt different. The air grew warmer, though no fire burned nearby. A single white owl landed upon the highest column, its bright eyes never leaving the wanderer. It did not seem afraid, nor curious, only certain, as if it had crossed the heavens with one simple purpose: to wait, until he was finally ready to listen. The owl remained upon the highest pillar, silent, watching the distant sea. The wanderer took one careful step forward, then another. The warm light beyond the horizon had grown brighter, yet the stars refused to fade. It was as though night and dawn had agreed, for only this one moment, to share the same sky. Somewhere beneath the cliffs, gentle waves carried a melody no human voice could ever repeat. He followed the sound without fear. Ancient olive trees bent softly as he passed, their silver leaves brushing against one another like quiet whispers. Every path seemed familiar, although he had never walked there before. The old stories often spoke of hidden roads, revealed only to those who carried patience instead of ambition, and silence instead of pride. The path slowly descended toward the cliffs, where white flowers bloomed between ancient stones. Their gentle fragrance drifted through the cool night air, mixing with the scent of the sea. The golden light continued to glow far away, never growing closer, yet never fading. It seemed to wait patiently, as though it already knew he would follow. As he walked farther, the sound of gentle waves slowly faded behind him. In its place, he heard the quiet rustle of olive leaves, moving without the wind. Between the ancient trees, broken marble statues rested beneath blankets of moss, their peaceful faces turned toward the stars, as though they had been waiting through countless ages for this silent journey. The white owl flew only a short distance ahead, never rushing, never disappearing from sight. Every time the wanderer paused, it waited upon another weathered stone. The glowing light beyond the cliffs became softer, filling the night with a warm golden haze that felt strangely familiar, like a forgotten memory returning after many lifetimes. The narrow trail curved gently around the cliffs, revealing a quiet valley hidden from the world above. Moonlight rested upon smooth white stones, while small streams wandered peacefully between ancient olive trees. The warm golden glow drifted ahead, never speaking, only inviting. The wanderer followed without hesitation, feeling that every step had already been written long before he was born. Soon, he reached the remains of an old stone bridge. Time had worn away its edges, yet it still stood with quiet strength above a crystal stream. As he crossed, the water below reflected not only the stars, but faint constellations that did not belong to the night sky. They shimmered softly, then disappeared before he could look again. Beyond the bridge, tall marble columns emerged from the mist. No roof remained above them, only the endless heavens. Ivy wrapped gently around the ancient stone, while white flowers bloomed where forgotten prayers had once been offered. The air carried a peaceful warmth, as though unseen hands still cared for this sacred place, despite the passing of countless centuries. The owl landed upon the tallest column, watching him in complete silence. Then, somewhere deep within the ruins, a single bell echoed across the valley. Its sound was soft, slow, and impossibly distant, yet every note filled the night with quiet comfort, as though the temple itself had awakened from a very long dream. The golden light drifted toward the center of the forgotten sanctuary, where an ancient circle of smooth marble rested beneath the open sky. No statues remained, no offerings, only silence. As the wanderer stepped closer, tiny sparks of light began rising from the ground, floating gently around him like peaceful fireflies, carrying the quiet breath of an age long past. The tiny lights drifted upward, circling the ancient stones without a sound. None of them burned, yet each carried a gentle warmth that settled quietly upon the air. The wanderer stood still, watching them rise toward the heavens, until they blended with the stars, as though the earth itself was returning forgotten dreams to the sky. In the center of the marble circle, an old olive tree stretched its silver branches toward the moon. Its trunk was twisted by countless centuries, but every leaf shimmered with quiet life. A single olive fell softly onto the stone below, and the moment it touched the ground, a calm breeze wandered through the silent sanctuary. The breeze carried the fragrance of wild herbs, fresh rain, and distant seas. It passed gently across the ancient columns, awakening faint echoes that sounded almost like quiet voices. They did not call his name, nor ask for anything. They simply welcomed another traveler, just as they had welcomed so many before him. He lifted his eyes toward the sky, where the stars seemed closer than ever before. Their light flowed gently across the marble floor, drawing soft patterns that changed with every passing moment. No two shapes were the same, yet each felt familiar, as if the heavens were quietly telling a story too old for ordinary words. The white owl spread its wings once more, gliding toward a narrow passage hidden behind the ancient tree. Beyond it, only darkness could be seen, yet the golden glow slipped inside without fear, painting the stone walls with a soft light. The wanderer took a slow breath and stepped forward, leaving the moonlit sanctuary behind. The passage stretched deep beneath the mountain, cool and silent, its smooth walls marked with ancient carvings, softened by time. The golden light drifted ahead like a patient guide, never too far to follow, never close enough to touch. With every careful step, the sounds of the world above slowly disappeared, until only the quiet rhythm of his breathing remained, echoing gently through the endless stone. Along the walls, faded images slowly revealed themselves beneath the warm glow. They told no story of war, nor of mighty kings, but of gentle seasons, peaceful harvests, and humble travelers offering thanks beneath the stars. Children danced around sacred olive trees, shepherds rested beside quiet streams, while distant temples stood beneath skies filled with constellations long forgotten by the modern world. After what felt like hours, the narrow passage opened into a vast hidden chamber. Above him, the ceiling disappeared into darkness, where thousands of tiny crystals reflected the golden light like a second night sky. Thin streams of water flowed silently through polished stone, their surface glowing with silver reflections. The air felt warm, calm, and untouched by the passing centuries, as though time itself had chosen to rest within these sacred walls. At the center of the chamber stood a peaceful pool, perfectly still beneath the shimmering crystals. Not a single ripple disturbed its surface. The white owl landed beside the water, lowering its head with quiet respect. The wanderer knelt at the edge, and for the first time, he did not see his own reflection. Instead, he saw distant mountains, ancient forests, and forgotten temples resting beneath skies far older than memory. As he watched in silence, the vision changed as gently as drifting clouds. Marble cities rose beside quiet seas, while lanterns glowed beneath towering columns. People gathered in peace, offering songs instead of gold. Then, among them, a hooded figure appeared, walking slowly through the sacred city. Though the face remained hidden, something deep within the wanderer's heart whispered that they had met long before. The hooded figure paused beside an ancient fountain, its clear water flowing without end. For a brief moment, it turned ever so slightly, but the shadow beneath the hood concealed every feature. Even so, the wanderer felt no fear, only a quiet familiarity, like remembering a forgotten dream that had waited patiently through many peaceful nights. The vision slowly faded, leaving only the still surface of the sacred pool. Gentle circles spread across the water, though nothing had touched it. The owl remained silent, its bright eyes fixed upon the center of the pool, as if it too was waiting. Somewhere beyond the chamber, a soft breeze carried the scent of blooming laurel, warm stone, and the distant sea. He rose to his feet, following the golden light once more. Beyond the pool, another passage opened between towering pillars carved with vines, stars, and graceful owls. Every step echoed softly, never breaking the silence, only becoming part of it. The deeper he walked, the lighter his heart became, as though the mountain itself welcomed every quiet breath. At the end of the passage, an open garden rested beneath the night sky. No roof covered it, only countless stars shining above ancient olive trees. Marble benches circled a single tree at the center, its silver leaves glowing gently beneath the moon. Tiny lights drifted among the branches, moving as peacefully as fireflies on a summer evening. The golden light floated beneath the old tree, then slowly disappeared into its roots. For a moment, nothing happened. The leaves stood perfectly still, the air remained silent, and even the stars seemed to pause. Then, from deep within the ancient trunk, a soft golden heartbeat spread through the garden, gentle, steady, and impossibly old. The gentle pulse continued, spreading through the roots, across the quiet garden, and into every ancient stone surrounding the tree. One by one, tiny golden leaves drifted from the branches. Though no wind had touched them, they floated slowly around the wanderer, glowing with a soft warmth that felt neither magical nor strange, but wonderfully familiar, like returning to a place his soul had never truly forgotten. As the final leaf settled upon the marble ground, the old tree began to glow from within. Fine lines of golden light traced the patterns hidden beneath its weathered bark, revealing symbols so ancient that even time seemed to treat them with quiet respect. The owl watched without moving, while somewhere beyond the garden, the distant sound of flowing water blended gently with the whispering leaves, creating a melody older than memory. Then, from the heart of the ancient tree, a single doorway slowly appeared. It was not carved by hands, nor built from stone. It formed naturally, as though the tree had decided to open itself after countless centuries of silence. Beyond the doorway, only a warm golden mist could be seen. It carried the scent of fresh olive branches, wildflowers, mountain rain, and the calm breath of the endless sea, inviting him to step closer without a single word. The wanderer stood before the glowing entrance for a long moment, listening to the peaceful silence surrounding him. Nothing urged him forward, nothing held him back. Even the owl remained perfectly still, allowing the choice to belong only to him. Above the garden, the stars slowly shifted across the heavens, while the moon bathed the ancient sanctuary in soft silver light, as though the entire night had paused, waiting for a single quiet step. With calm determination, he crossed the threshold. The golden mist wrapped gently around him, warm as the first light of dawn upon quiet marble. When it slowly faded, he found himself standing upon a wide stone terrace overlooking valleys untouched by time. Endless olive groves stretched toward distant mountains, peaceful rivers shimmered beneath the stars, and far beyond the horizon, magnificent temples rested in silence, glowing softly beneath a sky unlike any he had ever known. The terrace overlooked a land that seemed untouched by the passing of ages. Gentle rivers wandered through emerald valleys, disappearing into quiet forests where silver mist rested among the trees. In the distance, white temples crowned the hills, their marble glowing beneath the stars, as though they carried light from another sky. Every breath felt lighter here, filled with the fragrance of olive blossoms, cedar, and the cool air drifting from the mountains. He slowly walked along the ancient terrace, where smooth stone columns stood in perfect silence. Between them, graceful statues watched over the valley with calm expressions untouched by sorrow or time. Moss covered their feet, while ivy climbed gently toward their hands. It felt less like a forgotten kingdom, and more like a place that had simply chosen to remain hidden, waiting quietly beyond the reach of ordinary lives. Far below, small lanterns began to appear across the valley. They moved slowly through the darkness, not carried by people, but floating peacefully above the earth, like tiny stars searching for their way home. Their warm light reflected upon the winding river, turning the water into a ribbon of gold. The wanderer leaned upon the old stone railing, watching the silent procession with quiet wonder, as though witnessing a sacred tradition older than memory. The white owl circled once above the terrace, then glided toward a narrow staircase carved into the mountainside. Each step had been worn smooth by countless travelers, yet no footprints remained. Wild lavender grew between the stones, filling the cool night with its gentle fragrance. The golden lanterns continued their slow journey below, while the stars above seemed to mirror their path, as if heaven and earth had agreed to travel together. As he began the descent, the first rays of dawn did not rise from the horizon, but softly emerged from behind the distant temples. Pale gold spread across the marble peaks, awakening the valley without disturbing its peaceful silence. Birds greeted the morning with quiet songs. The rivers shimmered with new light, and somewhere far ahead, a single ancient bell echoed once more, welcoming another step into the endless story of the gods. The sound of the bell lingered gently in the morning air, fading so slowly that it became impossible to tell where the echo ended and the silence began. As he reached the foot of the staircase, a narrow stone road stretched across the valley. Wildflowers lined its edges, their petals covered with drops of morning dew that shimmered like tiny stars beneath the newborn light. The owl flew ahead, never hurrying, always waiting whenever the wanderer paused to admire the peaceful landscape. Ancient cypress trees stood beside the road, their long shadows reaching across the marble path. Between them, small streams flowed over smooth stones, filling the valley with a quiet melody that seemed to rise from the earth itself, gentle enough to calm even the busiest heart. Before long, the road led him to a circular courtyard surrounded by graceful columns. At its center stood a marble fountain, where clear water flowed from the hands of a serene goddess carved with extraordinary care. The water never overflowed, never slowed, only continued its endless journey into a narrow channel that disappeared beneath flowering vines. He knelt beside the fountain, letting the cool water run gently across his hands. For a brief moment, the flowing surface reflected not his face, but the endless night sky he had left behind. Stars shimmered beneath the water, constellations drifted slowly with the current, and then, just as quietly, the reflection became ordinary once again, as though the vision had simply wished to say hello. Beyond the courtyard, the valley opened into endless olive groves bathed in soft morning light. Their silver leaves danced beneath a gentle breeze, filling the air with a peaceful whisper that seemed to carry the voices of countless generations. The wanderer smiled without knowing why, and continued forward, while the owl disappeared between the ancient trees, inviting him deeper into a world where every path remembered the footsteps of the gods. The olive grove welcomed him with cool shade, though the morning sun had begun to warm the valley. The trees stood in quiet rows, their twisted trunks shaped by centuries of gentle seasons. Between them, narrow paths of pale stone wandered without haste, leading toward places hidden behind soft hills. Every leaf shimmered as the breeze passed, filling the silence with a peaceful whisper that never truly ended. As he walked deeper into the grove, he noticed small stone altars resting beneath the oldest trees. Time had softened their edges, and wildflowers grew freely around them. No offerings remained, only smooth pebbles, olive branches, and tiny clay lamps that seemed untouched by rain. Though no flame burned within them, each carried a quiet warmth, as if someone had only just passed by. Beyond the grove, a crystal stream crossed the path, flowing so gently that every smooth stone beneath the water could be seen. A narrow bridge of white marble reached across it, decorated with delicate carvings of owls, laurel leaves, and rising stars. The owl landed upon the bridge, waiting patiently, while the sound of the water echoed like a soft lullaby through the peaceful valley. Crossing the bridge, the wanderer looked into the clear water below. Tiny silver fish moved without fear, weaving through ribbons of sunlight that danced beneath the surface. For a brief moment, the current carried the reflection of distant temples that stood nowhere nearby. They drifted with the water, then quietly vanished, leaving only the gentle song of the stream behind. On the far side of the bridge, the path slowly climbed toward a quiet hill crowned with tall marble columns. White doves rested upon their weathered tops, watching the valley awaken beneath the golden morning sky. The owl circled once above the hill, then disappeared beyond the ancient sanctuary, while a soft breeze carried the fragrance of laurel, wild thyme, and the endless promise of another forgotten path ahead. As he reached the hilltop, the world below seemed wonderfully still. The rivers shimmered like threads of silver, olive groves stretched beyond the horizon, and the distant temples rested beneath a sky of soft gold and pale blue. The sanctuary before him had no walls, only graceful columns standing beneath the open heavens, as though the gods had always preferred the company of the wind and the stars. In the center of the sanctuary lay a wide circle of polished marble, untouched by fallen leaves or drifting dust. Sunlight rested upon its surface with unusual warmth, revealing delicate patterns that only appeared when the light moved across the stone. Spirals, stars, and gentle waves slowly emerged, then faded again, like memories quietly rising before returning to sleep. The white owl settled upon the highest column, closing its eyes for the first time since the journey had begun. The valley fell completely silent. Even the breeze seemed to pause among the ancient pillars. The wanderer remained still, listening carefully, until he noticed something almost impossible. Beneath the silence, the sanctuary itself seemed to breathe, slowly, peacefully, as though it had never truly been empty. Beyond the circle, a narrow path of white stone curved around the hillside and disappeared into a quiet forest of tall cypress trees. Their dark branches swayed gently beneath the morning light, filling the air with the soothing scent of fresh earth and pine. Tiny birds moved from branch to branch, singing soft melodies that echoed like ancient hymns across the peaceful valley. He followed the winding path, leaving the marble sanctuary behind, without looking back. The forest welcomed him with cool shade and gentle light filtering through the tall trees. Far ahead, barely visible between the cypress trunks, stood the outline of another forgotten temple. No smoke rose above it. No voices could be heard, only the calm rhythm of nature, patiently waiting for another traveler to arrive. The forest grew quieter with every step, Sunlight slipped gently through the tall cypress branches, painting soft patterns across the ancient path. Ferns covered the ground, while vines embraced weathered stones that had rested there for centuries. Somewhere nearby, a hidden stream flowed between the roots, its gentle murmur blending perfectly with the songs of distant birds. The forgotten temple slowly came into view. Its marble columns leaned slightly with age, yet every stone remained beautiful beneath the morning light. Ivy climbed toward the open roof, where white doves nested peacefully among the broken beams. Time had changed its shape, but not its spirit. It still stood with quiet dignity, watching the valley just as it had for countless generations. As he entered the sanctuary, the cool air carried the delicate fragrance of laurel leaves and fresh rain. Small rays of sunlight fell through the open ceiling, illuminating tiny particles of dust that drifted like golden stars. The silence inside felt different, not empty, but welcoming, as though every traveler who had ever arrived here had left behind a gentle piece of their gratitude. Near the far wall rested an ancient stone table, worn smooth by time. Upon it stood a single clay bowl filled with perfectly clear water. No leaves floated upon its surface. No dust had settled within it. It reflected the bright sky above with flawless clarity, even though the sunlight never reached that quiet corner of the temple. The white owl glided through the broken roof and landed beside the stone bowl. It looked toward the wanderer, then softly lowered its head. At that very moment, a gentle breeze wandered through the empty temple, causing the hanging vines to sway together. Their leaves whispered against the old marble, carrying a peaceful sound that felt strangely familiar, like hearing an ancient prayer remembered by the wind itself. The wanderer stepped closer to the stone bowl, careful not to disturb the silence that filled the temple. The water remained perfectly still, reflecting the drifting clouds above with impossible clarity. As he looked deeper, the reflection slowly changed. The bright morning sky gave way to a quiet night, where countless stars shimmered across dark waters, calm and endless. He watched without speaking. The stars beneath the water moved slowly, forming gentle patterns that resembled the carvings he had seen throughout the ancient temples. They circled one another with graceful precision, until they gathered into the shape of a great olive tree. Then, as softly as morning mist, the image faded, leaving the water clear once again. The owl spread its wings and flew through a narrow archway hidden behind hanging vines. Beyond it, a peaceful courtyard opened beneath the warm afternoon light. White flowers covered the old stone paths. Bees wandered lazily from blossom to blossom, and a small fountain sang quietly at the center, filling the air with a melody that never seemed to repeat itself. Around the fountain stood weathered marble seats, each carved with delicate patterns of laurel branches and stars. They faced inward, as though waiting for companions who had simply stepped away for a little while. The wanderer rested his hand upon one of the smooth stones, warmed by the gentle sun, and smiled at the strange feeling that this place had always known his footsteps. Beyond the courtyard, a narrow gateway framed the distant mountains in soft golden light. Thin clouds drifted slowly above their peaks, while eagles circled high in the peaceful sky. The owl paused upon the gateway, looking back only once, before disappearing along the ancient road that continued quietly toward another forgotten corner of the gods' eternal world. The ancient road wound gently between low hills covered with wild lavender and thyme. Every passing breeze carried their sweet fragrance across the valley, mixing with the cool scent of stone warmed by the afternoon sun. The path seemed endless, yet never tiring, as though each step quietly lifted the weight from his heart instead of adding to it. Before long, he reached a grove of towering cypress trees standing in a perfect circle. Their dark branches swayed softly above a carpet of emerald grass, where countless white petals had gathered over many peaceful seasons. Sunlight filtered through the trees in gentle beams, filling the grove with a calm glow that felt untouched by the passing years. At the center of the grove stood a simple marble bench beside an ancient sundial. Though the afternoon shadows stretched across the valley, the sundial cast no shadow of its own. Instead, faint lines of golden light moved slowly across its surface, tracing symbols too delicate to read. They appeared for only a moment, then dissolved like mist beneath the warm sky. The wanderer remained there for a while, listening to the quiet rhythm of nature. Bees hummed among the flowers, leaves whispered overhead, and somewhere beyond the hills, a flock of doves rose together into the bright blue sky. Nothing hurried, nothing demanded attention. Even time itself seemed content to wander as peacefully as the gentle breeze. As he continued along the ancient road, the landscape slowly opened before him. Beyond rolling fields and silver olive trees, a magnificent marble city appeared in the distance. Its temples gleamed beneath the afternoon light, while graceful towers overlooked the calm sea beyond. No smoke, no noise, only quiet beauty, waiting patiently beneath the endless sky, as though it had been expecting his arrival for centuries. The marble city rested upon gentle hills overlooking the quiet sea. From afar, its wide terraces shimmered beneath the afternoon sun, while countless columns rose like white trees against the sky. Soft banners drifted lazily in the breeze, yet no voices reached him. The city seemed wonderfully alive and peacefully silent, all at the same time. The ancient road became broader as it approached the city gates. On either side, tall olive trees offered cool shade to every traveler who passed. Small stone lanterns stood beneath their branches, though no flame burned within them. Their polished surfaces reflected the sunlight with a warm glow, guiding the path as faithfully as stars guide sailors across the sea. Crossing beneath the great marble arch, he entered streets paved with smooth white stone. Crystal fountains rested in quiet squares, their gentle waters flowing into narrow channels that wandered through the city like silver ribbons. White doves gathered along the edges, drinking peacefully before lifting into the bright afternoon sky with graceful wings. Every building carried delicate carvings of olive branches, owls, and constellations woven into the marble. Flowering vines climbed across balconies, filling the air with the fragrance of jasmine and laurel. Gentle curtains moved behind open windows, stirred only by the soft sea breeze, while distant bells echoed so quietly they felt more like memories than sounds. At the heart of the city stood a magnificent temple unlike any he had seen before. Its towering columns glowed with a soft golden light, even beneath the afternoon sun. Wide marble steps led toward its open entrance, where the white owl had already come to rest. It waited without moving, as though the longest part of the journey had only just begun. He slowly climbed the wide marble steps, feeling the warmth of the ancient stone beneath his feet. Gentle breezes drifted between the towering columns, carrying the scent of olive blossoms and the distant sea. Above him, white doves circled the temple roof without a sound, their wings catching the golden light of the quiet afternoon. Beyond the entrance, the temple opened into a vast hall bathed in soft light. Sunbeams poured through the high ceiling, falling upon polished marble that reflected them like calm water. There were no thrones, no treasures, only peaceful silence, broken gently by the steady rhythm of a spring flowing somewhere deep within the sanctuary. Along both sides of the hall, graceful statues stood beneath flowering vines. They did not appear proud or distant. Instead, their calm expressions carried quiet kindness, as though they had watched over generations of travelers with endless patience. Fresh laurel leaves rested at their feet, untouched by dust, their fragrance filling the warm air. The owl glided toward the center of the temple, where a wide opening revealed the sky above. Sunlight streamed down into a circular pool of crystal water, making its surface shimmer with countless shades of blue and gold. Tiny ripples formed without a breeze, spreading gently from the center, as though the water itself had begun to breathe. The wanderer knelt beside the sacred pool, watching the ripples drift slowly toward the smooth marble edge. As the last circle faded, a single golden leaf floated quietly across the water. It moved without hurry, reflecting the bright sky above, until it came to rest near his hand, as if the temple had offered him a silent welcome before revealing its next secret. He gently reached for the golden leaf, but before his fingers touched the water, it drifted away on its own, moving in slow circles across the crystal pool. The ripples spread outward without a sound, carrying tiny reflections of the sky above. Looking into the water felt like gazing through a doorway rather than a mirror, as though another peaceful world rested just beneath the quiet surface, waiting without impatience. The great hall remained perfectly still around him. Warm sunlight rested upon the marble floor, while long shadows from the towering columns stretched slowly across the sanctuary. Somewhere beyond the walls, the distant sea breathed against the shore with gentle rhythm. Every sound, every beam of light, every drifting breeze seemed to belong together, forming a harmony so quiet that it could only be heard by someone willing to remain completely still. The white owl stepped to the edge of the sacred pool and lowered its head once again. In response, the water began to glow with a soft silver light rising from its depths. Slowly, graceful constellations appeared beneath the surface, brighter than those in the heavens above. They drifted like living stars through calm waters, joining and separating with peaceful elegance, as though quietly retelling stories that had existed long before words were ever spoken. The wanderer remained silent, allowing the vision to unfold without searching for meaning. He had learned that the ancient places never revealed themselves to those who hurried. They spoke through patience, through quiet observation, and through the gentle passing of time. As he watched the glowing constellations drift beneath the water, he felt the same calm certainty returning to his heart, the feeling that every step of this endless journey had always been leading him exactly here. Then, from high above the open roof, a single white feather drifted slowly through the golden light. It landed gently upon the sacred pool, sending soft ripples across the still water. Beneath the surface, the glowing stars gathered around it, shining with quiet warmth. The owl lifted its eyes toward the sky, as though silently welcoming an unseen presence that had finally returned. The feather remained upon the water, untouched by the gentle ripples surrounding it. Slowly, it began to glow with the same soft light as the hidden stars below. The wanderer watched in silence, feeling neither surprise nor fear. Everything within the temple unfolded with quiet purpose, as though each moment had been patiently waiting for the one before it. Beyond the sacred pool, a warm breeze wandered through the open hall, carrying the scent of olive blossoms and fresh mountain air. The hanging vines swayed gently between the marble columns, while tiny beams of sunlight danced across the polished floor. The temple seemed to awaken, not with noise, but with a peaceful breath shared by every stone within its ancient walls. He slowly stood, following the path of light that stretched across the marble floor. It led toward a quiet courtyard beyond the sanctuary, where tall cypress trees surrounded a circular garden. White flowers covered the ground like soft clouds, and a narrow stream flowed silently between smooth stones, reflecting the bright afternoon sky. In the center of the garden, an ancient olive tree spread its silver branches wide above a round stone seat. Its leaves shimmered whenever the breeze passed, filling the air with a gentle whisper. Countless seasons had come and gone beneath its shade, yet the tree stood with quiet strength, watching the endless journey of the sun across the heavens. The owl flew to one of the highest branches, settling there without a sound. The wanderer rested beneath the old tree, listening as the leaves moved softly above him. Beyond the garden, the marble city glowed beneath the warm afternoon light, while far across the peaceful sea, another distant temple shone faintly on the horizon, inviting the journey to continue. The gentle shade of the ancient olive tree wrapped around him like a quiet memory. Above, silver leaves swayed with every passing breeze, filling the garden with a soft whisper that never seemed to end. Sunlight filtered through the branches in scattered rays, painting delicate patterns across the marble ground. The peaceful silence was not empty. It felt alive, carrying the calm breath of countless seasons that had passed beneath this sacred tree. From where he sat, the distant sea shimmered beneath the afternoon sky like polished glass. Small white sails drifted slowly across the horizon. So far away they appeared almost motionless. Seabirds circled high above the quiet water, their graceful wings catching the light before disappearing into the endless blue. The entire world seemed to move with gentle patience, asking nothing, expecting nothing, simply existing in perfect harmony. After a long while, the owl spread its wings and glided silently beyond the garden walls. The wanderer rose and followed along a narrow marble path bordered by blooming laurel and lavender. Their fragrance lingered in the warm air, mixing with the scent of fresh earth carried from the surrounding hills. Ahead, slender columns appeared between the trees, standing beside a peaceful terrace overlooking the endless valley. The terrace stretched along the mountainside, offering a view unlike any he had seen before. Rivers shimmered like silver threads through emerald fields, while distant temples rested peacefully among rolling hills bathed in golden light. Clouds drifted slowly across the sky, casting gentle shadows that wandered over the landscape. It felt less like looking upon a kingdom, and more like watching a living dream that had quietly endured for thousands of years. At the far end of the terrace, a graceful stone staircase descended toward another hidden valley. Wild vines embraced its ancient railings, while white flowers bloomed between every weathered step. The owl paused at the first landing, waiting as it always had. The wanderer smiled softly, took a slow breath of the warm afternoon air, and began the gentle descent, knowing the road ahead still held countless quiet wonders yet to be discovered. The staircase descended gently along the mountainside, winding between ancient cliffs covered with ivy and wild jasmine. The afternoon light slowly turned to gold, while far below a quiet valley stretched toward the sea. Gentle rivers flowed through endless olive groves, and the air carried the peaceful fragrance of cedar, thyme and blooming flowers untouched by time. As he reached the valley floor, he found himself surrounded by an endless meadow filled with white and pale blue flowers. Their petals swayed together beneath the gentle breeze, moving like quiet waves across the earth. Butterflies drifted lazily from blossom to blossom, while honeybees hummed their ancient song without hurry. The silence remained, yet it was filled with countless gentle sounds, each one blending perfectly into the calm rhythm of the land. Beyond the meadow, a slow river curved gracefully between smooth marble banks. Ancient willow trees leaned over the water, their long silver branches brushing the surface with every passing breeze. Tiny fish glimmered beneath the clear current, while dragonflies floated above it like living jewels. The owl crossed the river with effortless grace, following a winding path that disappeared beneath rows of towering cypress trees bathed in soft evening light. The cypress forest welcomed him with cool shade and the comforting scent of pine. Sunlight filtered through the tall branches in long golden beams, illuminating old stone markers almost hidden beneath soft moss. None bore names, only delicate carvings of stars, olive leaves, gentle waves, and soaring birds. They stood quietly among the trees, not as monuments to sorrow, but as peaceful reminders that every traveler eventually became part of the endless story carried by the land. At the heart of the forest, the trees opened into a quiet clearing. A perfectly still lake rested beneath the evening sky, reflecting the first stars as they slowly appeared above. White marble columns circled its peaceful shore, while tiny golden lights drifted gently over the water. The owl landed upon a nearby column, and the wanderer stood in silence, watching the calm beauty of the sacred lake. The lake remained perfectly still, reflecting the stars with such clarity that it seemed impossible to tell where the sky ended and the water began. A cool evening breeze wandered across its surface, creating gentle ripples that carried the golden lights slowly from one shore to the other. The wanderer watched quietly, feeling as though the lake was breathing with the rhythm of the heavens themselves. Around the marble columns, white lilies rested upon the water without drifting away. Their delicate petals caught the last light of the evening, glowing softly against the deepening blue of the lake. Somewhere among the reeds, a night bird offered a gentle call, answered only by the peaceful whisper of leaves moving high above the quiet shore. The owl glided from its column and followed a narrow path circling the lake. Smooth stones lined the shoreline, warmed by the fading sunlight of the day. Between them, tiny flowers bloomed in shades of white and pale violet, filling the cool air with a light fragrance that lingered gently as the first stars brightened overhead. On the far side of the lake, an old pavilion stood beneath graceful willow trees. Its roof of pale marble rested upon slender columns wrapped in flowering vines. Though countless seasons had passed, every stone remained calm and beautiful, touched only by soft moss and the patient hands of time. Lantern-like lights floated quietly around it, never fading into the night. As he approached the peaceful pavilion, the moon slowly rose above the distant hills, covering the sacred lake in silver light. The owl settled beneath the marble roof, waiting in complete silence. The wanderer paused for a moment, listening to the gentle sound of water against the shore, before taking another quiet step into the moonlit sanctuary. The moon climbed above the quiet valley, bathing the marble pavilion in soft silver light. Long shadows stretched across the stone floor, while the nearby lake reflected the stars with perfect clarity. The cool air carried the scent of lilies, willow leaves, and distant cedar trees. Tiny golden lights drifted peacefully above the water, rising and falling with the evening breeze like silent lanterns. Inside the pavilion, graceful arches framed the peaceful lake in every direction. Marble benches curved around the open hall, their smooth surfaces untouched by time. Nothing felt abandoned. Instead, the sanctuary seemed carefully protected by silence itself, waiting patiently for every traveler who arrived with a calm heart and an open mind. At the center of the pavilion stood a marble basin filled with crystal-clear water. White lotus blossoms floated gently upon its surface, glowing beneath the moonlight. As the night deepened, their petals slowly opened, filling the cool air with a delicate fragrance. The owl landed beside the basin, watching quietly as the flowers shimmered in the silver light. Beyond the pavilion, a narrow marble path followed the edge of the lake. Moonlight rested upon every weathered stone, while willow branches swayed gently overhead. Across the quiet water, another ancient temple appeared upon a distant hill. Its tall columns glowed softly beneath the stars, standing in perfect silence above the sleeping valley. Part 110. The wanderer continued along the moonlit path, stopping now and then to admire the peaceful night. Every breeze carried the scent of flowers and fresh water. The distant temple slowly grew larger with every step, while the owl glided silently ahead. Behind them, the sacred lake reflected the stars, preserving the quiet beauty of the journey beneath the endless sky. The path climbed gently away from the lake, leading through quiet hills covered with ancient olive trees and fragrant laurel. Moonlight rested upon every branch, giving the silver leaves a gentle glow that shimmered with each passing breeze. Far behind him, the sacred water reflected the stars without a single ripple, until it slowly disappeared beyond the rolling hills. Ahead, the marble temple stood patiently beneath the night sky, growing clearer with every peaceful step. As he drew closer, the temple revealed countless graceful details hidden from afar. Tall columns circled the sanctuary, their smooth surfaces carved with vines, stars, and soaring owls. Ivy climbed gently between the ancient stones, while white flowers bloomed at the foot of every pillar. The place carried no feeling of age or ruin. Instead, it seemed lovingly cared for by the quiet rhythm of nature itself, unchanged through endless seasons. Wide marble steps welcomed every traveler toward the open entrance. Small bronze bowls rested along both sides of the stairway, each holding a gentle golden flame untouched by the evening breeze. Their warm light blended with the cool glow of the moon, covering the white stone with soft shades of silver and gold. Above the doorway, delicate carvings of constellations stretched across the arch, sparkling faintly beneath the endless heavens. Crossing into the sanctuary, he found a vast open courtyard surrounded by graceful colonnades. In its center grew an enormous olive tree, older than any he had seen before. Its branches reached toward the stars, while thousands of tiny leaves shimmered like polished silver beneath its shade. A quiet spring emerged from the marble ground, flowing gently into narrow channels that wandered through the temple like calm rivers of crystal. The owl settled upon one of the ancient branches, watching the spring as though it had returned to a place it had always known. The wanderer knelt beside the flowing water, listening to its gentle song echo beneath the quiet arches. Above him, the stars continued their slow journey across the heavens, while the great olive tree whispered softly in the night, guarding yet another peaceful secret that had waited countless centuries to be discovered. The spring flowed quietly through narrow marble channels, weaving its way around the courtyard before disappearing beneath ancient stone arches. Wherever the clear water passed, small white flowers bloomed along its edges, their delicate petals glowing beneath the moonlight. The gentle sound of the flowing stream echoed through the sanctuary, blending with the soft whisper of olive leaves until the entire temple seemed to breathe with calm and unbroken harmony. He followed the little stream beneath a long colonnade where rows of marble pillars stretched into the distance. Moonlight slipped between them, painting bright ribbons across the polished floor. Every few steps, finely carved statues stood within graceful alcoves, their peaceful expressions turned toward the open sky. Time had softened every detail, yet nothing had taken away the quiet beauty that rested within the ancient sanctuary. Beyond the final column, another peaceful garden revealed itself beneath the stars. Lavender, rosemary, and wild jasmine filled the cool night air with a gentle fragrance. A circular path wandered among flowering trees, whose silver leaves shimmered with every passing breeze. Tiny golden lights floated lazily through the branches, rising and falling like fireflies, never hurrying, never disappearing into the darkness. At the center of the garden stood a broad marble fountain shaped like an open flower. Crystal water spilled gently from each carved petal, filling the quiet night with a soothing melody. White doves rested along its rim, undisturbed by the wanderer's presence. As the moon climbed higher, the flowing water reflected both the stars above and the blossoms surrounding it, joining heaven and earth in one peaceful mirror. Leaving the fountain behind, the wanderer continued along a winding path lined with ancient cypress trees. Beyond them, the land slowly rose toward a quiet ridge overlooking the sea. Faint lights shimmered on the distant horizon, like countless floating lanterns beneath the stars. The owl glided toward them without hesitation, while the cool night breeze carried the scent of salt and olive blossoms. The climb toward the ridge was gentle, winding through quiet fields where wild thyme and soft grasses swayed beneath the night breeze. Above, the stars shone brighter than ever, filling the sky with endless rivers of light. Behind him, the temples and gardens slowly disappeared into the silver mist, while ahead, the mysterious lights continued to glow with calm and patient beauty. Reaching the top of the ridge, he paused to admire the endless sea stretching beneath the moon. Its calm surface reflected the heavens so perfectly that the horizon seemed to vanish completely. The floating lights drifted peacefully across the distant water, never growing closer, never fading away. They moved with quiet purpose, like silent travelers following a path only the stars could reveal. The owl settled upon an old marble pillar standing alone at the edge of the cliff. Time had covered its base with moss and flowering vines, yet its smooth white stone still caught the moonlight with quiet grace. From that lonely place, the valley, the forests, and the distant temples could all be seen resting beneath the peaceful sky, untouched by the passing centuries. Near the pillar, a narrow stone path descended toward a hidden cove far below. Waves reached the shore in slow, gentle rhythms, leaving thin lines of silver foam upon the sand before quietly retreating once again. The cool scent of the sea mixed with the fragrance of olive trees above, creating a calm that seemed to settle deep within every breath he took. Without a word, he began following the winding trail toward the quiet shore. The owl glided ahead, its white wings shining beneath the moon as though woven from light itself. Far below, the peaceful sea welcomed the night with endless whispers, while the floating lights continued their slow journey across the water, inviting him toward yet another forgotten wonder beyond the horizon. The path descended toward the hidden cove, winding between smooth white cliffs shaped by wind and sea. Small wildflowers bloomed from cracks in the ancient stone, glowing softly beneath the moonlight. The sound of gentle waves grew clearer with every step, while olive branches whispered above. Everything around him moved with peaceful patience, as though the night itself welcomed his journey. At last he reached the quiet shore. The sea rested like polished glass beneath the moon, while tiny waves rolled gently across the pale sand. Smooth stones shimmered beneath the clear water, and seashells reflected the silver light. Farther out, the floating lights drifted peacefully across the calm sea, rising and falling with the gentle tide. The owl glided low above the water, its reflection moving beside it without a ripple. Along the shore, ancient marble steps disappeared beneath the sea, leading quietly into the crystal depths. Seagrass swayed round the lowest steps, while tiny silver fish drifted through the moonlit water, untouched by the passing night. He followed the shoreline beside the ancient steps. High above, cypress trees stood beneath the stars, watching over the sleeping coast. The breeze carried the scent of salt and blooming jasmine from the hills. Across the water, the floating lights gathered together, glowing softly like distant lanterns waiting upon the sea. At the end of the cove, a marble pier reached quietly into the sea. The owl landed upon its final pillar, gazing toward the endless horizon where stars met the water. The wanderer stepped onto the ancient pier, surrounded only by the gentle whisper of the waves and the peaceful silence of the sacred night. The ancient pier stretched far beyond the quiet shoreline, its weathered marble glowing beneath the silver moon. Gentle waves passed between the tall pillars below, creating a calm rhythm that echoed through the peaceful night. Looking back, the hidden cove rested beneath the cliffs like a forgotten sanctuary, while ahead, only the endless sea and the silent stars filled the horizon with quiet wonder. The floating lights drifted closer, moving slowly across the calm water without making a single ripple. Their golden glow reflected upon the sea like scattered pieces of the night sky. Some gathered near the old pier, while others continued toward the distant horizon. The owl remained perfectly still, watching them with quiet familiarity, as though it had witnessed this gentle procession countless times before. Halfway along the pier, the wanderer discovered marble lanterns resting upon graceful pedestals. No flame burned within them, yet each lantern glowed with a warm golden light. Delicate carvings of stars, olive branches, and gentle waves wrapped around their smooth surfaces. Their quiet radiance blended with the moonlight, covering the ancient stone in soft shades of silver and gold. Beyond the final lantern, the sea opened into a vast expanse of shimmering water. The night breeze carried the fresh scent of salt, mingled with the fragrance of distant flowers drifting from the cliffs behind. Above, countless stars slowly crossed the heavens, while below, their reflections moved gently with the tide, making it impossible to tell where the sky ended and the sea began. At the very end of the pier, a small circular platform rested above the quiet water. In its center stood a simple marble pedestal, polished smooth by countless peaceful nights beneath the open sky. The owl landed upon its edge, waiting without a sound. The wanderer stepped forward slowly, surrounded by moonlight, gentle waves, and the endless calm of a world that seemed to exist beyond the reach of time. The marble platform rested quietly above the gentle sea, untouched by the passing waves below. Moonlight covered every stone with a soft silver glow, while the endless sky stretched above like a peaceful ocean of stars. The owl remained beside the ancient pedestal, calm and watchful. The wanderer stood in silence, allowing the quiet rhythm of the sea to settle gently within his heart. Around the platform, the floating lights slowly formed a wide circle upon the water. They drifted without sound, rising and falling with the gentle tide. Their warm glow reflected across the smooth marble, filling the night with soft shades of gold and silver. Far beyond the horizon, the sea and sky blended together so perfectly that the stars seemed to rest upon the water itself. The cool breeze carried the scent of salt, distant cedar forests, and blooming olive trees hidden among the cliffs. Somewhere across the calm sea, a single bell echoed through the night, its gentle tone traveling slowly over the water before fading into silence. The owl lifted its head for a moment, then returned its quiet gaze toward the marble pedestal. The ancient pedestal stood simple and unadorned, its smooth surface shaped by countless years beneath the open sky. Fine carvings of stars and flowing waves circled its base, glowing faintly whenever the moonlight touched them. Tiny drops of seawater shimmered upon the marble like scattered pearls, disappearing almost as quickly as they appeared beneath the cool night air. The wanderer stepped slowly round the platform, pausing often to admire the endless sea surrounding him. Every direction offered only peaceful water, silent stars, and the gentle whisper of waves against the old stone. Nothing urged him onward, yet the quiet beauty of the place carried a promise that another forgotten path would soon reveal itself beneath the patient light of the moon. He rested his hand upon the cool marble railing that circled the platform, feeling the smooth stone shaped by countless seasons of wind and sea. Gentle waves rolled beneath him with quiet rhythm, while the floating lights continued their slow journey around the ancient pier. The night remained perfectly calm, allowing every distant sound to travel clearly across the endless water. The owl spread its wings and circled once above the platform before gliding toward the edge of the pier. It did not hurry, nor did it call. It simply waited, turning its gaze toward the silver mist as though an old friend had quietly returned after a very long journey. The wanderer followed with the same calm patience, listening only to the sea. Standing at the end of the pier, the wanderer watched the glowing mist surround the distant horizon. Beyond its gentle veil, faint outlines of marble columns slowly appeared above the water, peaceful, graceful, and almost dreamlike. They stood without revealing their full shape, inviting him only to wonder, while the owl remained perfectly still beneath the calm light of the moon. The silver mist continued to drift across the quiet sea, revealing a little more of the distant columns with every passing moment. They rose gracefully from the water, their pale marble reflecting both the moon above and the stars beyond. Gentle waves passed between them without a sound, as though the sea itself respected the silence of that forgotten place. The wanderer remained at the edge of the pier, watching patiently as the mysterious sanctuary slowly emerged from the night. Around the ancient columns, small white birds circled lazily through the moonlight before disappearing into the mist once again. Their wings caught the silver glow, leaving brief flashes of light against the dark sky. The floating lanterns upon the sea quietly gathered near the hidden sanctuary, surrounding it in a warm circle of gold. Together, the lanterns, the stars, and the calm water created a peaceful harmony that felt older than memory itself. The owl glided silently above the water, stopping upon the highest of the distant columns. From there, it looked back toward the wanderer without making a sound. Between the pier and the sanctuary, Smooth stepping stones slowly appeared just beneath the surface of the sea. They shimmered faintly beneath the moonlight, forming a quiet path across the water, steady enough to invite a careful traveler, yet gentle enough to seem like part of a dream. He took his first step onto the ancient stones, pausing to watch the calm sea flowing peacefully around them. The water remained perfectly clear, revealing smooth shells, silver fish, and swaying strands of seagrass beneath his feet. Every step echoed softly through the quiet night, while the floating lanterns drifted nearby, lighting the peaceful path with warm golden reflections dancing across the gentle waves. At last he reached the first marble column rising from the sea. Time had softened its edges, but delicate carvings of olive branches, stars, and flowing rivers still covered its surface. Beyond it, more graceful columns disappeared into the silver mist, hinting at a sanctuary that remained hidden just a little farther ahead. The owl waited there in silence, while the moon continued its slow journey above the endless sea, guiding the night with calm and gentle light. Beyond the first column, the ancient pathway continued across the quiet sea, each marble stone resting above the gentle waves. The silver mist slowly parted, revealing graceful pillars rising from the water. Moonlight flowed between them, while floating lanterns drifted peacefully through every opening. With each careful step, the sounds of the distant shore faded, until only the calm rhythm of the sea remained. Soon the scattered columns formed a magnificent sanctuary, unlike any he had seen before. There were no walls, only endless rows of white marble rising from the sea. Graceful bridges connected the pillars above clear pools, where silver fish drifted peacefully. Every surface reflected the stars, making the sanctuary appear to float between the sea and the heavens beneath the quiet night. The owl glided through the open sanctuary, passing beneath graceful arches wrapped with flowering vines. Their pale blossoms filled the cool night air with a delicate fragrance. Beneath each arch, crystal water shimmered softly, revealing polished stones beneath the surface. Tiny ripples spread with gentle rhythm, as though the sanctuary breathed with the endless tide. At the center of the sanctuary, a wide circular courtyard rested upon smooth white marble. Slender columns surrounded a calm reflecting pool that remained perfectly still despite the sea beyond. Looking into its clear surface, the wanderer saw not only the stars above, but quiet constellations drifting beneath the water in soft silver light. He stepped into the moonlit courtyard, pausing beside the tranquil pool as the owl settled upon the highest column. Floating lanterns gathered one by one, surrounding the sanctuary with a warm golden glow. Beyond the marble pillars, the endless sea stretched into the night, while the stars continued their peaceful journey across the heavens. The reflecting pool remained perfectly calm, untouched by the gentle breeze moving through the open sanctuary. Moonlight rested upon its clear surface, while countless stars shimmered both above and below, making the water seem endless. The wanderer lingered beside it in quiet wonder, listening to the soft sound of the sea flowing around the marble foundations, until every thought faded into the peaceful rhythm of the night. Around the courtyard, elegant colonnades stretched toward the water, their smooth pillars glowing beneath silver light. Flowering vines climbed from one column to the next, filling the air with the delicate fragrance of jasmine and laurel. Tiny lanterns drifted lazily between the arches, their warm golden light dancing across the polished marble floor, blending gently with the cool glow of the moon above. Beyond the nearest arch, a quiet terrace overlooked the open sea. Low marble walls traced its edges, while graceful stone benches faced the endless horizon. Gentle waves rolled below without haste, carrying silver reflections from the stars across the calm water. The owl glided to the terrace and waited upon its railing, watching the peaceful sea as though listening to an ancient melody carried by the tide. The wanderer joined the owl upon the moonlit terrace, resting his hands upon the cool marble as he gazed across the endless horizon. Far away, Islands appeared as soft shadows beneath the stars, surrounded by a faint silver mist. Between them, quiet channels of water reflected the heavens like polished glass, while the floating lanterns continued their slow journey across the sea, never hurried, never still. As the night grew deeper, the sanctuary became even more peaceful. The fragrance of blooming flowers drifted gently through the arches. The sea whispered against the marble below, and the stars brightened across the endless sky. Somewhere beyond the distant islands, another warm golden light slowly appeared upon the horizon, calm and steady, inviting the journey to continue toward yet another forgotten place watched over by the ancient gods. The distant golden light remained steady upon the horizon, neither growing brighter nor fading away. It rested above the calm sea like a quiet star that had chosen to remain close to the earth. The owl watched it in silence, while the wanderer listened to the gentle rhythm of the waves below, feeling the peaceful night unfold one quiet moment at a time. Leaving the moonlit terrace, he followed a graceful colonnade that curved around the sanctuary. Moonlight slipped between the marble pillars, painting long silver patterns across the floor. Beyond every arch, the sea shimmered softly beneath the stars, while flowering vines swayed gently in the cool breeze, filling the air with the fragrance of jasmine and fresh laurel. At the end of the colonnade, a wide staircase descended toward a lower courtyard resting almost upon the water itself. Smooth white stones surrounded a quiet garden where olive trees and cypress grew side by side. Tiny golden lanterns floated among their branches, moving slowly with the breeze, while a narrow stream wandered peacefully through the center of the garden. He stepped into the peaceful garden, following the sound of the little stream as it flowed over polished stones. White flowers rested along its banks, their petals glowing beneath the moonlight. Every leaf, every branch, every gentle ripple seemed to move with perfect harmony, creating a silence so comforting that even time itself felt slower within the sanctuary. Beyond the garden, another marble arch opened toward the sea. Through it, the distant golden light could still be seen, shining patiently beyond the quiet water. The owl spread its wings and glided toward the open arch, disappearing into the silver night, while the wanderer followed with calm steps, ready to discover whatever peaceful wonder waited beyond the endless horizon. Beyond the marble arch, a quiet coastal path followed the edge of the sea. Smooth white stones reflected the moonlight, while gentle waves touched the shore with a slow and endless rhythm. Ancient olive trees leaned toward the water, their silver leaves whispering softly whenever the cool breeze wandered through the branches. Far ahead, the golden light remained calm, guiding the peaceful journey without a word. After a long and peaceful walk, the path opened onto a broad terrace overlooking the endless sea. Marble benches rested beneath graceful cypress trees, while slender columns framed the view of the distant horizon. The floating lanterns drifted quietly below, their golden reflections moving gently across the calm water like scattered pieces of starlight. The owl landed upon the top of the sundial, its bright eyes fixed on the distant glow beyond the sea. For a long moment, nothing changed. The waves continued their gentle song, the lanterns drifted peacefully across the water, and the stars crossed the heavens in perfect silence. Then, the golden light on the horizon slowly widened, revealing the faint outline of another sacred shore waiting beyond the night. The distant shoreline slowly became clearer beneath the moonlight, revealing gentle hills crowned with ancient olive trees and quiet marble temples resting above the sea. Their pale columns shimmered with a soft silver glow, while long terraces stretched gracefully toward the water below. The golden light rested among them, peaceful and unwavering, as though it had quietly welcomed travelers for countless generations without ever asking them to hurry. The owl left the old sundial behind and glided silently along the coastal cliffs. The wanderer followed the winding path, where smooth marble steps appeared between flowering shrubs and weathered stone walls covered in ivy. The air grew cooler as the sea breeze drifted inland, carrying the fragrance of salt, cedar, and blooming lavender. Every step echoed softly, blending with the endless rhythm of the waves below. At the foot of the cliffs, a quiet harbor rested beneath the stars. Small white boats floated peacefully upon crystal water, their ropes swaying gently with the tide. Marble lanterns lined the curved shoreline, casting warm reflections across the sea without disturbing its perfect calm. No voices could be heard, only the gentle creak of wood, the whisper of water, and the soothing breath of the night. Beyond the harbor, a long marble walkway extended over the quiet bay, connecting the shore to a small island wrapped in silver mist. Cypress trees stood along its edges, while delicate arches framed the endless horizon. Tiny golden lanterns floated between the pillars, rising slowly into the night before drifting back toward the sea, as though following an ancient rhythm known only to the stars. The wanderer stepped onto the moonlit walkway, pausing once to look back at the peaceful coast, slowly fading behind him. Ahead, the mist around the little island parted ever so gently, revealing the outline of another quiet sanctuary resting above the water. The owl waited upon its highest arch, motionless beneath the stars, while the sea whispered softly below, inviting the endless journey to continue with the same calm grace that had carried it from the very beginning. The marble walkway stretched peacefully across the quiet bay, each smooth stone warmed by the memory of the day and cooled by the gentle breath of the night. Below, the sea moved with slow, unbroken rhythm, reflecting every star above, as though the heavens had settled upon the water. The silver mist drifted softly around the distant island, revealing graceful columns, flowering trees, and quiet terraces before hiding them once more in its delicate embrace. As he continued forward, the fragrance of blooming jasmine grew stronger with every step. Vines climbed along the marble railings, their pale blossoms glowing beneath the moonlight like tiny stars resting upon the earth. The breeze carried the scent of olive leaves, fresh cedar, and the sea, blending them into a calm perfume that seemed to belong only to this forgotten corner of the ancient world. The owl glided silently ahead, never disappearing from sight. Soon the walkway reached the peaceful island where wide marble steps rose gently toward an open sanctuary. There were no gates, no walls, only graceful arches standing beneath the endless sky. White cypress trees surrounded the sanctuary, their tall branches moving softly in the night breeze. Between them, small streams flowed across polished stone, filling the air with a quiet melody that echoed through every corner of the tranquil island. At the heart of the sanctuary rested a broad circular courtyard paved with smooth white marble. In its center, a calm pool reflected the moon with perfect clarity, while flowering lilies floated quietly upon its surface. Marble benches formed a gentle circle around the water, inviting peaceful rest beneath the stars. Tiny golden lights drifted lazily through the courtyard, rising among the columns before disappearing into the cool night above. The wanderer stepped into the moonlit courtyard, pausing beside the still water as the owl settled upon the highest arch. Beyond the island, the endless sea shimmered beneath countless stars, while distant temples glowed faintly along the horizon. The night remained wonderfully silent, filled only with flowing water, whispering leaves, and the calm promise of another peaceful path ahead. Leaving the quiet courtyard behind, the wanderer followed a narrow marble passage curving around the island. Moonlight filtered through graceful arches, casting soft patterns across the stone. Beyond each opening, the sea stretched beneath the stars, while cool breezes carried the fragrance of jasmine, olive blossoms, and the open water. The peaceful silence grew deeper with every step. The passage opened onto a broad garden overlooking the sea. Ancient olive trees stood beside flowering cypress and laurel, their silver leaves glowing beneath the moon. Marble paths wandered between quiet fountains where crystal water flowed gently. Tiny golden lanterns drifted among the branches like peaceful fireflies, rising and falling with the cool night breeze. At the far end of the garden, a graceful pergola rested above a wide stone terrace. Flowering vines covered its white columns, filling the air with a sweet fragrance. Beyond it, distant islands rested beneath silver mist, appearing and fading with the gentle movement of the night, like quiet memories carried across the sea. The owl settled upon the highest beam of the pergola, while marble benches overlooked the endless horizon. The wanderer paused for a while, listening to the gentle rhythm of the waves below. Every sound arrived softly, carried by the cool night breeze, until the world seemed wrapped in perfect stillness. Beyond the terrace, a winding staircase descended toward another quiet shoreline beneath the island. The eastern horizon held the faintest touch of silver before dawn. The owl spread its wings and drifted toward the ancient steps, while the wanderer followed calmly, certain that another peaceful path awaited beyond the cliffs. The ancient staircase descended slowly through the quiet cliffs, each weathered step softened by countless years of sea breeze and gentle rain. Wild ivy and pale flowers grew between the stones, their delicate fragrance drifting through the cool night air. Above, the stars still shone brightly, while below, the quiet sea reflected their light in long ribbons of silver that stretched toward the sleeping shore. At the foot of the cliffs, a peaceful beach rested untouched beneath the fading moonlight. The sand was smooth and pale, marked only by the slow rhythm of the waves reaching the shore before gently retreating again. Scattered seashells shimmered beside polished stones, while tiny golden lights floated just above the water, rising and falling with the calm breath of the sea. The shoreline curved toward a quiet grove where ancient olive and cypress trees grew side by side. Their branches swayed softly in the cool breeze, filling the silence with a gentle whisper. Between the trees, narrow marble paths appeared beneath the moon, leading toward small courtyards where fountains rested peacefully beneath flowering vines and graceful arches. As he followed the winding path, the scent of fresh herbs, jasmine, and sea salt blended into the cool air around him. Every courtyard seemed more peaceful than the last, with quiet pools reflecting the stars and marble benches resting beneath silver leaves. The owl flew from arch to arch, always waiting just ahead, never rushing the gentle pace of the journey. Beyond the final grove, the land slowly rose once more toward a broad hillside overlooking both the sea and the ancient island behind him. The moon began its quiet descent toward the western horizon, while the first pale colors of approaching dawn gently touched the eastern sky. The owl settled upon a weathered marble pillar, waiting in silence, as the wanderer paused to watch the ancient world awaken one peaceful breath at a time. The hillside welcomed the first gentle colors of dawn, though the stars still lingered above in the quiet sky. A cool breeze wandered through the tall grasses, carrying the fragrance of wild thyme, olive leaves, and fresh earth awakened by the coming morning. Looking back, the island sanctuary rested peacefully upon the sea, its white marble glowing faintly beneath the fading moon, as though it belonged to both the night and the approaching day. He continued along a winding path that followed the crest of the hill. On one side, the endless sea shimmered with soft silver light, while on the other, wide valleys stretched toward distant mountains, wrapped in pale morning mist. Ancient olive groves covered the hills below, their quiet beauty interrupted only by narrow streams that sparkled gently as the first light touched their flowing waters. Far ahead, the outline of another peaceful sanctuary slowly appeared among tall cypress trees. Its marble columns stood beneath the open sky, surrounded by flowering gardens that glowed softly in the early dawn. Thin trails of mist drifted between the pillars, Rising slowly as the morning breeze crossed the hills, the owl flew toward the sanctuary without haste, circling once above its highest arch before waiting once again. The first rays of the sun finally touched the distant mountaintops, covering them with soft gold, while the valleys below remained wrapped in cool blue shadow. Birds greeted the new morning with gentle songs, fountains echoed quietly among the gardens, and the sea reflected the growing light like polished glass. The owl settled upon a flowering olive branch, while the wanderer smiled softly, welcoming another peaceful day in the endless world of the ancient gods. The morning unfolded slowly across the hills, filling every valley with warm golden light, while the last traces of silver mist drifted among the ancient olive groves. Dew sparkled upon the grass like tiny stars, and gentle breezes carried the fragrance of rosemary, laurel, and blooming wildflowers. The entire landscape seemed to breathe with peaceful harmony. The path led through rows of towering cypress trees, whose long shadows stretched across the marble road. Quiet gardens appeared between their trunks, filled with flowering vines, clear fountains, and stone benches warmed by the morning sun. Birds sang softly overhead, while butterflies drifted lazily among the blossoms in the cool breeze. Beyond the gardens, the land opened into a broad valley, where crystal streams wandered between white flowers and silver-green olive trees. Small stone bridges crossed the peaceful water, while distant marble temples rested upon gentle hills beneath the brightening sky, watching over the timeless countryside. The owl glided above the valley before settling upon an ancient olive tree beside the road. The wanderer paused beneath its silver branches, listening to flowing water, distant birds, and the whisper of countless leaves. Every sound carried the quiet promise that the peaceful road still stretched far beyond the horizon. As the sun climbed into the clear blue sky, the valley revealed more hidden paths leading toward distant hills, quiet forests, and shining sanctuaries. They waited with endless patience beneath the warm morning light, while the owl lifted its wings once more, and the wanderer continued forward, one calm step at a time. The winding road left the peaceful valley behind, climbing gently through rolling hills, where ancient olive trees stretched as far as the eye could see. Their silver-green branches shimmered beneath the bright morning sun, while soft breezes carried the scent of ripe figs, wild herbs, and blooming flowers. Every few moments, the sea appeared once more between the hills, sparkling quietly before disappearing again behind rows of graceful cypress trees. As the morning grew warmer, the path entered a quiet woodland filled with tall pines, cedar trees, and flowering laurel. Golden sunlight filtered through the branches in gentle beams, dancing across patches of moss and smooth white stones. Tiny birds moved peacefully from tree to tree, while squirrels disappeared among the roots without disturbing the calm silence that surrounded the ancient forest. Beyond the woodland, a wide meadow unfolded beneath the open sky. White lilies and pale blue flowers swayed together like gentle waves, reaching toward a narrow stream that curved gracefully through the grass. Dragonflies hovered above the clear water, their delicate wings sparkling whenever the sunlight touched them nearby. Smooth marble stepping stones crossed the stream, inviting every quiet traveler to continue without haste. Far ahead, beyond fields of olive trees and flowering hills, another magnificent sanctuary appeared beneath the clear blue sky. Wide marble terraces descended toward quiet gardens filled with fountains and cypress trees, while sunlight shimmered across its graceful columns. The owl circled once above the sanctuary before gliding onward, and the wanderer followed with calm and steady steps. The ancient road slowly descended toward the sanctuary, passing through peaceful gardens where olive trees and flowering vines grew side by side. Marble fountains filled the air with the gentle sound of flowing water, while white doves wandered freely among the stone paths. Warm sunlight rested upon every column, giving the entire sanctuary a soft golden glow beneath the clear morning sky. Crossing beneath the first marble arch, the wanderer entered a spacious courtyard surrounded by graceful colonnades. Flowering jasmine climbed around the pillars, filling the air with a delicate fragrance carried by the light breeze. At the center, a quiet fountain reflected the blue sky above, its crystal water flowing gently into narrow channels that wandered peacefully through the ancient garden. Beyond the courtyard, a long terrace overlooked endless hills covered with silver-green olive groves. Gentle winds moved through the branches, creating soft waves across the landscape below. Far in the distance, white temples rested upon quiet mountaintops, their shining columns barely visible through the warm morning light that slowly brightened the horizon. The owl glided along the terrace before settling upon the top of a weathered marble column. Around its base, delicate carvings of stars, vines, and flowing rivers remained beautifully preserved despite the passing centuries. The wanderer paused beside it, resting his hand upon the cool stone while listening to birdsong, distant fountains, and the peaceful whisper of the morning breeze. At the end of the terrace, a wide marble staircase rose gently toward another open sanctuary resting above the gardens. Tall cypress trees lined both sides of the steps, their long shadows dancing softly across the white stone. The owl lifted its wings and continued upward without a sound, while the wanderer followed slowly, surrounded by warm sunlight, blooming flowers, and the endless calm of the ancient world. The marble steps carried him gently toward the highest terrace, where the morning sun bathed every column in soft golden light. A peaceful breeze wandered through the open sanctuary, carrying the fragrance of olive blossoms, jasmine, and the distant sea. The owl circled once above the quiet temple before settling upon its tallest pillar, watching the endless horizon in complete silence. From the highest terrace, the entire ancient world stretched before him. Quiet valleys, shining rivers, peaceful forests, marble temples, and the endless blue sea rested together beneath the warm sky. Every place he had visited seemed connected by the same gentle light, forming one endless journey through a land where time moved as softly as the wind. The wanderer stood quietly, remembering every peaceful path, every sacred garden, every calm lake, and every silent sanctuary that had welcomed him along the way. None had asked him to stay, and none had truly said goodbye. They simply remained, waiting patiently beneath the heavens, for every soul seeking peace and stillness. The wanderer smiled softly and continued along the ancient marble road, not searching for an ending, but simply embracing the peace of each new step. Behind him, the temples, forests, rivers, and sacred shores rested beneath the golden light of Greece. Ahead, the horizon remained open, calm, and endless, while the timeless world of the gods quietly whispered its eternal promise to every traveler who chose to walk its peaceful paths.